Dan HQ. Today I have Kath with me. Kath, what are the basics of bookkeeping?
Oh, well, that's quite a broad-ranging question, but I'll try and keep it like as kind of low-level basic as I can, because I don't want to give you a great big lecture here. But bookkeeping, in its essence, is just about keeping track of what you sell and what you spend in order to make those sales. So there's two sides. There's basically your money into your business and money out of your business. And money in, sometimes called sales ledger, but really on its most basic is you deliver training to a client, you send them an invoice, sometimes before, sometimes after, depends how you want to run your system, and then you collect the money in. That is your sales ledger, that's your income. On the other side of that, your purchases, your purchase ledger, where you're dealing with suppliers for things that you need to buy to deliver your business. So in terms of the sales side, the income, money in, whenever you're delivering training, you'll want to issue invoices. I would recommend you invoice ahead of time. Once you've delivered the training, you can't take it back if they don't pay, so you really need to be paid in advance before you deliver the service. Okay. When you create an invoice, there are certain things in any country, there are certain things that you will need to have on the invoice. The detail will vary kind of legislatively across the world, but the basics that you'll need are your company or your name if you're trading as yourself. You'll need a unique invoice number. That can be something as basic as a 05001, which is 05 for the month, or 19 for the year, and 001 because it's the first invoice of the year, 002, 003. I would always recommend sequential numbers, because if you ever get an inspection of any kind, they like to see that you've got all your numbers in a row and that every invoice is accounted for. So an invoice number. You need to have your address on there, your trading address. If you've got an office, then that would be your office address. If you're a registered company, that would be your registered office address. If you're working from home, it'll be your home address. But the base of your company. And what else? If you're registered for VAT or for sales tax, if you have a registration number, you would include that. If you are a registered company, like a limited company, you would have your company registration number. These are all things that identify you and your business and where you are, and if anyone had any queries, they could go look up these numbers and locate you, find you. So
if you are wherever you are in the world, where do you go to find out what information you need on these invoices?
Right, so in the UK, you'll find information on the HMRC, that's Her Majesty's Revenue and Customs website, or for your company stuff on Companies House. In some countries you don't need to register at all, but they will have information on how to run a business. So I would search for company registration, corporate registration, Chamber of Commerce. In some countries it's a Chamber of Commerce that actually runs that. But anyway, your Chamber of Commerce in your local nearest town or city will have a lot of useful information about setting up a business, and that tends to be worldwide. So I would say search for your Chamber of Commerce, or again just search for company registration or tax registration or tax information in whatever country you're in. If you've got a specific question about your tax, then actually Googling that particular question will generally get you an answer of some kind. It might be, just make sure you're looking at a reliable source of information, because there are lots of websites, like accountants' websites will sometimes have information for their clients. So if you're searching, what can I claim on my tax return? You might get the HMRC website near the top because that should be the most relevant, but you'll also get some accountants' websites where they've got blog posts to help their clients. They're worth looking at, but just check the date of the blog post and check that the information is current. So always double check that with the tax websites, but they can be a useful resource.
Okay, so that's what about the money out then, the money that you're spending? What receipts do you need to keep? What paperwork do you need to keep?
Right, for your money out, you're on a very basic level, if you're spending any money related to the delivery of your business, then you can most likely deduct that from your income to give you your profit that you will pay tax on. So if you have to travel to a training venue, you would keep your taxi, petrol, bus receipts. If you are producing, well, if you'd be printing invoices, so you could reclaim your printer costs, your consumables, cartridges, printer paper, stationery for just the general running of your business. Not so much on like business meals. There are different regulations all over the place for if you have a meal, if you are entertaining. These things can't always be reclaimed, so that you would really need to kind of go check your local legislation, go check your local tax website. Any bills that you are paying in relation to office space, if you actually rent an office, then obviously your rent, your electricity, heat, light, even refreshments for the office. You know, you can have small invoices for milk for the office, that generally you can put through. But that's on a really kind of granular level. You might want to think about, if you're working from home, certainly in the UK, and I'm sure this is there'll be an equivalent elsewhere in the world, but if you're working from home, you can claim a proportion of your home expenses for the area that you use for your office. So if you've got a four bedroom house and one of your bedrooms is your office, then or not 4 bedrooms, sorry, 3 bedroom and a living room, because you count your public rooms too. So 4 apartments. If you're using one of your rooms as an office, you can claim 25%, 1/4 of things like your electricity bill, your telephone bill, your local government tax, you know, your rates or property taxes. Again, this is it's going to vary from country to country, so I would suggest always just checking online. But those are the kind of things. Anything that you are spending money on to run your business, you can generally put into your business to reduce your profit from your income before you pay tax on it. So yeah, keep most.
I think that's filled in a lot of gaps there, and I'm certainly going to be going home and applying some of that to my self-employment anyway. So
Excellent.
thanks very much.